Hey, what's up, guys? This is Scotty back for another video on Defiance car care utilization and car care tips. My last video was a few weeks ago, and now I'm finally getting back to making the second portion of the series. And today's topic is going to be on your structure of your car club, and it's going to incorporate a lot of different aspects and topics that heads use to help run the car club smoothly, whether that be the chapter or the entire club itself. So first off, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. Go down there and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button for more Defiance car care tips and car club utilization videos, as well as share this out on all social media platforms so that not only you and the people in your chapter can help use this information to run smoother, but you can also do this for your fellow club, because these videos are for us to help the car community as a whole. We all want to link up and, change the perception on what the world sees cars as to be, right? So first off, I wanted to talk about the structure. So when you think of it, when you're new to a car club, you're like, okay, so who do I report to? Like, who's the heads? What do they do, right? So within your car club, not only just my car club, but all car clubs have some sort of structure with it, as into you're going to have somebody who's the head of the chapter, head of the state, a sergeant of arms, and then you're also going to have like a high-level council. That way they can help to congregate all the chapters in the club as a whole, as well as go over rules and regulations and dues maybe if your club does that. But for the structure, you're gonna start from the lowest. All right, so I'm gonna use my car club as an example of how we do it, right? So when you look at the structure of our car club, right? So you have the regular members, right? So then you have the head of chapter, right? Or the head of city. For example, we'll just say the head of Chicago, right? So you would have the head of Chicago that is in charge of that chapter's members, correct? So then once you have multiple chapters in a state, you're like, all right, cool. Now we need to have somebody who's higher level than that city, so that they can take and handle either recruiting for new cities or events that are in between cities, and they can handle all of the state's functions that the city heads cannot handle, right? So city heads is the front line for all members. Then you have the state heads, which help the city heads run smoother and help the inner city meets and everything, right? So then you're thinking, all right, cool. So now we have the cities and we have the state. So what could be any higher than that, right? So in ours, we have the sergeant at arms, right? And they're in charge of multiple states. So you have the members that are there. Then you have the front line, which is the head of city. Then the second line, which is the head of state. And then the third line. I know that there's probably four, but either way, it's four people. The third line is the sergeant at arms, as for my club. Now I know other clubs are differently, and they have their names differently, like, but a lot of it is the same structure as far as how you create a chain of command, as per se, right? So then the sergeant of arms is over multiple states, right? So we would have like the Midwest that would include all the Great Lakes states and everything, right? That would all be considered under one area, and that sergeant of arms is they're in charge of helping all the other states that need assistance, or if you want to plan a regional meet, or there's just big shows that you can help get each one of the, or like different states, like say Indiana and Ohio. Say there's a meet somewhere on the border, you can help and focus your energy to get all the chapters from Ohio and Indiana together at that one meet, so you have a bigger presence, right? So after that, your typical council is going to include all of your higher level, your tier 3 defense. That would be like your sergeant of arms if you have a president or CEO or vice pres, whatever it may be, right? The founder, it doesn't matter. That's going to include your council, and they're going to be the ones to go over all the rules, regulations, requirements, dues, if you will, everything to help make the club run smoother and to give you the focus of what your club is going to be about. They're going to have to relay that information from the council down to your cities and your states and all of your members, so that you can effectively run the club together, right? So one big thing about that is that you want to create, you always want to have accountability of your members, right? So how can your city heads or your state heads or your sergeant of arms, council, whatever it may be, how can they run effectively if they don't know who's in the chapter, right? So one of the big utilization tools that I think is fantastic is having a listing of your members, right? So it seems like a very daunting task when you think, okay, I have 800, 900, 1,000 members. How the hell am I going to do that, right? So it's up to your city and your state heads in order to create a listing. So as someone, comes in, or if someone's prospecting, or if someone leaves or whatnot, then you could take and update the list, and you always have an active listing, right? So that's where the heads are in charge. Your head of city and your head of state are in charge of creating that listing. So right here, this is a sample of how I would do a listing for members, right? So it's just a simple Excel, right? A simple spreadsheet. And so I would start with the name of the person, the vehicle that they drive, the date they became a prospect, the date they became a member. SME number is shows, meets, and events, right? So sometimes that you have requirements like show meets, and events requirements, right? So then if you put the number that they're in there while they're in the prospecting phase, so it's not to include full members, but that's to include prospects, right? It'll help you keep track of how many events they actually have gone to, right? So then the last one is their position. If they are put into a head or a co-head position of, say, a city, a state, of a region, whatnot, then that's a perfect opportunity to take and put their position up there. So when somebody asks, okay, hey, how many people do you have in your chapter? Okay, how many prospects do you have? Who's in your chapter? Is this person in your chapter? You can go to your list and go, hey, okay, so I have this many prospects, this many members, and oh, okay, yeah, they are in my chapter, and here's all of their information. So having a spreadsheet like this, it's very simple, very easy to use, and it will help the heads take accountability of their chapters, right? So then it'll also allow, so if you have, say you have a requirement of 6 meets, right? So then you go in there and you're like, all right, cool, I have 3 prospects that are at 4 meets, and I have 2 prospects that are at 5. So before our next big monthly meet, then I can take and go ahead and order those banners and have them ready, so that when it comes time to actually go to the monthly meet, you can say, all right, cool, everybody has already hit their 6 meets, and these 5 are ready to banner. Here's their banners. You collect the money, blah 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 blah. You have an up-to-date list now. So then they become out of prospecting, and you would take out their prospecting date, and you would take out their shows, meets, and events date, right? So then you would still have the name of the person, the vehicle that they drive, and the member date They've officially got bannered, right? So it's just that's a simple little fix for any type of listing to help the heads, right? So the next thing I wanted to talk about was activity, right? So when you're in a car club, the whole point is for us to get together and enjoy cars. We're all car enthusiasts, right? So the point is for all of us to get together and do car stuff, right? Do cruises, do meets, do barbecues, whatever it may be, right? Because we're one big family, and that's how we need to, purvey ourselves. So the way we do that is we have members show up. We need to have activity. Being active within a car community is pinnacle. And the reason why is because if you're not actually showing up, are you an actual car enthusiast? You may like cars, but are you a car enthusiast? The whole point for me is I like to show up to as many events as possible. Now, not all the time are you able to do that because work, you have children, a family, whatever. You may take a vacation. You don't have to go to every meet, but then again, don't go to one meet every 3 months either. So the point is that you need to be active in your chapters, your club, everything like that, so that we can grow as a family. Do you see your family only once a year or once every 2 years? Now, I do because I have restrictions on being able to go home, but the majority of people are not, or they don't. They'll either live with their family or they'll see them at least a few times a year for holidays and whatnot, right? So why would you do that to your car family? Why would you only see them once every several months or whatnot? You wouldn't, because then you wouldn't be a family. So the point is that you need to be active within your chapters so that you can grow and your chapter can grow too, right? So one way, or ways that you can become active is by going to shows, meets, and events, and your head is going to, they're going to be the one to help purvey information of meets that they see. They'll take votes, everything like that, in order to get the interest of certain shows and events, right? So it's important to keep track of those. So say that you go to your monthly meet and you're like, okay, hey, here's these 6 events that are going on. Which one would y'all like to go to, right? And then they would gauge interest, and then they would create a listing much like the members list for the shows, events, and meets, right? So here's an example of that, right? So right here is the same spreadsheet that we had before, except for this is just for shows and events, right? So if you look right here, SME, that term is back again. Shows, meets, and events. It's just a way for me to take and shorten it down, right? So then you would put the name of the show there. Under location, you would put where it's at. Where is it at? Is it in Chicago or is it up in Milwaukee? Just the location of the event where it's going to be held. The next one would be the date. When is it at? What time? What day is it on? Then you would put down, or do you have to register? When is the registration end date for most shows? That's why they'll say, okay, you can register by blah 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 in order to get a discounted price, or you could pay at the door for more, right? And then on the last column would be the cost of the event, right? So sometimes when you go to charity events and everything, they're going to want a donation and say, okay, well, if you bring, a $10 donation, we've got food and all kinds of stuff too. So this right here is a very simple way in order to keep track of shows, meets, and events that your chapter is interested in And so that when you compile all this information, you can take and post it up and go, hey, here's all of our events, here's all the information for this month, these 2 months, 3 months, however long that you want to put it. And then you can say, these are the ones that we're going to try to go to. I'd like for everybody to make a point to try to come. So the biggest topics that I touched on today is one, the structure, right? You gotta have some sort of structure, otherwise everything is going to fall. So 2 would be how to report things, which would be within that structure. 3 is going to be how to keep track of your members list, so that you know exactly who's in your chapter, as well as what car they drive and when they came in, and you can follow the prospects as well. 4 is going to be activity. You have to be active within the car club, otherwise is it really a car club? And then lastly, you would have the events list, so that you can keep track of all of your monthly events, your bi-monthly, your quarterly events, your yearly events, if you want to go that far. So you can keep track of everything, and your members know, okay, so these are the shows and meets and events, and these are the dates, how much it costs, everything like that. And they're able to better prepare themselves to show up. Before I go, I would like to just touch on one thing: respect, right? So you have to have respect within a car club and a car culture, right? We're all together, right? It doesn't matter what club you're in. If you're in our club Defiance, or if you're in Envious, or if you're in lower class, whatever you're in, it doesn't matter. And the reason why is because we're all supposed to work together to make car events and stuff fun. But you have to respect not only your car club and other clubs, but the spots that you meet at. That's a big thing, is that everybody loves to do a nice rev out, or hit the red line, or you could burn out and do donuts, everything like that. It's all cool if you're doing it in a private place where you have permission, but when you go to meets and everything, always respect the spot, because you never know when that can be taken away, or police can show up, and next thing you know, your car's impounded and you're in jail. So it's just a respect thing, as well as respecting other members in other clubs. Not all members, in other clubs or in your own club are going to show the respect, but you can stand up as a leader by showing respect yourself, and then trying to lead those others in how to respect, right? So it's all in you. You're needing to be active, you're needing to be organized, you're needing to be respectful, and then that's going to make not only you succeed, but your car club succeed as well. So if you like the video, go down there and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button for more Defiance car care tips and car club utilization tools. Go down there and comment what you would like to see on the next video, and then stay tuned for more information and videos. This is Motion signing off until the next video. See you guys.